Good morning. Welcome to Chapter 1, Review Topic Number 1. Today's notes are for place values, number sense, and rounding. We're going to start this unit off and this year off by just remembering some of our basic skills. So let's start off. This is our decimal point. This is our starting point whenever we're looking for rounding or talking about place values. Let's go to the right. The first place value is your 10th place value. Then it's your 100th, then 1,000th, then 10,000th. Breaking to the left now. And remember that those place values to the right are getting smaller and smaller as you go out. And then you know it's to the right because it's the afterwards, the TH sound. Breaking to the left. Now we're going to be getting bigger. The first place value is your ones. Then your tens, your hundreds, your thousands. Don't forget, if you are writing your number, you can have see a comma in there for representing your thousands place value. Then 10,000s, 100,000s, and then the next one would be your millions. Prime versus composite numbers. Let's talk about prime numbers first. Prime numbers can be divided only by one end number itself. An example of that is is 17. So write down example, the number 17. Write down, what are the factors of 17? Well, the only factors of 17 are 1. It's supposed to be an and sign, sorry. 1 and 17. Therefore, that example is prime. There's only one set of factors. Let's talk about now composite numbers. Composite numbers are a positive integer that has at least one or more factor that can go into it besides one in itself. An example is the number 16. Write down all the factors of 16. Well, there is 16 times 1. There is 8 times 2. And right now, because there's that extra factor right there, all right, this is a composite number. And there's also 4 times 4. So this number has 3 factors. 16 times 1, 8 times 2, and 4 times 4. As long as it has one more than the original, that's 16 times 1, then it's a composite number. All right, let's shift gears and talk about rounding. If you do not know your place values by heart, please use section 1 of these notes to help you along with rounding. Step number 1 in rounding is to underline the number and the place value that you are rounding to. Well, the directions say round to the nearest 10. So let's underline the nearest 10 place value. The 3 is in the tens place value. Step number 2 of rounding says look to the number to the right. So I take the look at the 3, I go to the right, the number to the right is the 7. Let's read rule number 3, or 3A. If the number is 5 or more, round up. So the number 7 is 5 or more, so we're going to take the 3 and we're going to round up, and we're going to make that a 4. And then any number that I'm rounding to the right of that number is just going to turn to a 0. So 37, rounded to the nearest 10, rounds up to 40. Let's take a look at rule 3B. If the number is less than 5, keep the number that is underlined the same. So let's take a look at example number 2. Find the place value that's in the tens place. It's the 3 again. The 3 looks to the 4. The 4 says to the 3, you better stay. So the number 8, we're not touching it, so that stays. The number 3 now stays because the 4 doesn't tell it to go up, and the 4 changes to a 0. We just rounded to the nearest 10, 830. I wanted to do example number 3 with you because it is a little bit more of a tricky problem. So let's take a look. Let's find out what number is in the tens place. If you said the 9, you would be correct. The 9 is in the tens place. The 9 looks to the 7. The 7 tells the 9, uh-oh, you got to jump up. Well, what's the next number after 9? It's 10. So if I were to write it like that, what does that 6 have to change to now? Well, the 6 plus 1 gives me 7. So 697 rounds up to 700. Now mind you, I didn't round to the nearest hundred, but because the 9 is in the tens place, the 9 forces the 6 to turn to a 7. You added a whole set of tens to that, makes it 700. You're going to use the same set of rules now for rounding to the nearest hundred. What place value or what number is in the hundreds place value? The 3 is in the place value, a hundreds place value. We look to the right. The 3 looks to the 4. The 4 tells the 3 to stay the same, so it's going to be 300. Example number 5. The 5 is in the hundreds place value. The 5 looks at the 8. The 8 tells the 5 to go up, so it's going to be 600. For example 6 and 7, the directions read round to the nearest tenth. So you find the tenth place value. The tenth, notice it's th, so the tenth is after the decimal. We look to the right. The 5 tells the 8 to go up, so it's going to be 7 point. We're not touching that. The 5 tells the 8 to go to a 9, 7.90. That's rounded to the nearest tenth. The 4 is in the tenth place value. The 4 looks at the 3. It says stay the same. So my answer is going to be 56.4.